Imagine yourself playing a Roblox game for days and days and days, but suddenly it becomes repetitive and boring. So obviously you quit and start another game on Roblox, but it slowly but surely becomes boring. So boring that even your favorite content creators are quitting the game. And because these games are so pay to win, you finally stop that genre. Well, for many people, and I'm sorry to say this, but including me, these games were all about brain rot. Well, you got it. Brain rot games are falling off, with Steal a Brain Rot, one of the biggest brain rot games, now having only around 100,000 concurrent players. But why? This is the fall of brain rot games. Brain rot was a term used way back in 2022, with Skibidi Toilet basically defining it. Loud, chaotic, random, and somehow addictive. But after its fall around early 2025, something else took over. Tongue, sahur, vine. Yeah, that era. Short AI-generated clips, weird characters, random humor that doesn't even make sense, but still blows up on TikTok. And Roblox didn't just copy it, it became it. At first, brain rot games were huge. I'm talking insane numbers. Steal a Brain Rot hitting over 25 million concurrent players at peak, which is honestly crazy if you think about it. Everyone was playing it, everyone was talking about it, every YouTuber was milking it. It felt like this was the future of Roblox. But here's the thing about trends. They move fast, really fast. One week something is everywhere, and the next week people are already getting tired of it, and that's exactly what happened here. At first, you log into a brain rot game and everything feels exciting. You're clicking fast, you're unlocking upgrades, you're seeing numbers go up every second, and your brain is just getting constant dopamine. But after a while, you start noticing something. You're not actually doing anything new. You're just repeating the same action again and again and again. Click, upgrade, repeat. Click, upgrade, repeat. There's no variation. There's no challenge. There's no real goal. And once your brain realizes that, the illusion breaks. Now, instead of feeling fun, it starts feeling like a chore. And nobody wants to log into a game just to do chores. And this is where most players quit. Not because the game suddenly became bad, but because it stopped feeling rewarding. And then comes the next problem: clones. The second one, brain rot game becomes popular, every developer jumps on it. Suddenly, your recommended page is filled with games that look exactly the same. Same icons, same UI, same gameplay loop, just slightly different names. And at first you might try a few of them, but after a while you realize they're all the same game. There's no originality anymore. So instead of one game dying, you now have an entire genre feeling stale, and this spreads the player base thin because instead of everyone playing one big game, they're all split across hundreds of copies, and that makes every game feel less alive. Now let's talk about depth. Brain rot games are designed to be simple, and that's not always a bad thing. Simple games can be fun, but these games are too simple. There's no skill involved. You don't get better at the game over time, you just get higher numbers. And that's not the same thing. In games with real depth, you improve. You learn strategies. You get better with practice. But here, you could literally leave the game running and still progress. That's not gameplay. That's automation. And once players realize that, the game loses its value. Another huge issue is pay to win. At the start, everything feels fast and fair. But then you hit a wall. Progress slows down, upgrades get more expensive, and suddenly the game starts pushing you to spend Robux. And this is where a lot of players just stop playing because they don't want to spend money just to keep up. So they quit and move on to something else. Now let's talk about YouTubers, because they played a massive role in this whole trend. When brain rot games were new, creators were genuinely enjoying them. Their reactions felt real. The content was entertaining, and people wanted to watch. But now, it's different. You can tell when someone is forcing content. The excitement isn't real anymore. It's the same reactions, the same jokes, the same type of video over and over again, and viewers pick up on that really fast. So when creators stop enjoying the game, the audience stops watching. And when the audience leaves, the game loses even more players. And this creates a chain reaction where everything starts declining at the same time. And then there's the Roblox trend cycle. This is probably the most important part. Roblox has always worked like this. One type of game becomes popular, everyone plays it, developers copy it, and then players get bored and move on. We've seen this happen so many times before, and Brainrot games are just the latest example. But now compare that to games like Brookhaven and Adopt Me. These games have been popular for years because they offer something Brainrot games don't: freedom. In those games, you create your own experience. You can role play, you can interact with other players, you can do something different every time you play. And that's why they last. Because they're not based on a trend, they're based on player creativity. Brainrot games don't have that. They rely entirely on short-term excitement. And once that excitement fades, there's nothing left to keep players engaged. So people leave. And when enough people leave, the game starts to feel empty. And once a game feels empty, it's really hard to recover. At the end of the day, Brainrot games didn't fail because they were bad. They failed because they were too repetitive, too copied, and too focused on quick dopamine instead of long-term fun. Players didn't quit overnight. They slowly lost interest one by one until the numbers started dropping, and now we're seeing the result. Brainrot games aren't completely dead, but they're no longer dominating Roblox like they used to. And soon, they'll be replaced by the next big trend. And when that happens, the same cycle will repeat again. Because that's just how Roblox works. And that's why Brainrot games are falling off. Because in the end, just because something is addictive doesn't mean it's actually fun. This is the fall of Brainrot games. This is the fall of